Not because you're afraid that carbon dioxide will increase, that oxygen will be reduced, but because you feel this continuum of consciousness in all forms of life. That is non-violence. But it will not happen unless that becomes your personal interior experience. It must come from that spiritual experience. Then that spiritual experience has to be applied. So this experience of unity will happen for you. There will come a moment in your meditation when all life will be you. Then there is no other that you can hurt. Then there is no other from which you need to defend yourself. But that other is also your own soul. The inclination will not be there. It is not that you want something so badly. And I heard that lecture and said about non-grabbing. Well, I do want it. I'm not going to that lecture next year. I want to be happy. Now, how long does that happiness last? How many days, how many minutes does that excitement last? Then it's gone. Then the thing lies in your wardrobe for years. Because, as the Buddha said, one of his basic teachings, Sabbe dhamma anicca, sabbe sankhara anicca. All conditions are transient. All processes are transient. How long will you keep on pursuing the transience of the mirage? Not all the mirages of the whole earth brought together can yield one single drop of water. All the urges you have satisfied to this day, is there a count? You satisfied now? And you will reach the age of 76 like me, and even at that time you will not be satisfied. Have you met anyone who is satisfied? So there must be some wrong way we are going to find this satisfaction. If 6 billion people are trying something for the last 10,000 years and haven't found it by following a certain way, my God, how many times do you have to repeat that experiment? In your lab, if an experiment does not yield the result you had hypothesized, do you abandon the experience after the 4th try or 6th try or 10th try? Or 6 billion people, day after day, and their entire lives, for the last 10,000 years, are trying the same experiment to find the satisfaction and haven't found it. And there are few and far between who say, I am satisfied, I am contented, I have no need to be violent, I have no need to grab, I am satisfied with one loin cloth. Why? Because they found, as you can also find, an interior fullness. It is possible. An interior fullness. And when you have that interior fullness, it overflows. And it fills other hearts and minds. And it makes you into a Gandhi or a Martin Luther King. Or whoever. It overflows and it changes the shape of the entire society because something inside you is welling up like a poet who gets restless unless he pens down that poem, like a musician who cannot rest until he has penned down that symphony. So your entire life becomes creative. You find new ways of loving. It overflows. It becomes your natural inclination. If you can just trace the pathways to that interior self. I don't want to sound a meditation evangelist. Don't try all the 11 methods. Try a simple one. Very simple. 2 or 3 minutes, a few times a day, the way you take a sip of water every now and then to quench your thirst. There are certain natural urges in a human being. You must satisfy those urges. Urge to love. Urge to sacrifice oneself for others. It's a natural urge. You do that all the time. Urge to share. You're unhappy unless you're sharing. Urge to be gentle. Urge to kindness. Indulge those urges freely, without fear. And the urge that calls from inside you and say, I want stillness.